There's a few drive mechanics, right? There's drive impact, drive reversal, drive rush, and drive parry. I don't think I'm missing any. I think that's all of them, right? And this entire gauge up at the top. I just want to talk relatively fast about OD moves because those are also a drive mechanic. I like OD moves. I like the OD moves. Most of them have like some sort of a special property. Generally, they're worth the meter spent for most characters. They have like one or two moves that like they almost always have a reason to want to spend, right? And you get pretty good reward for spending the 2 gauges of drive gauge. Most of the time, you get some sort of a like maybe even a launch. Oh, that doesn't hit. Oh, resub. Is this for some YouTube content? It is. How'd you know? What's up, Nitro Libre, bro? I suck. That just doesn't hit. Okay. There we go. That just doesn't hit. My bad. I ain't played DJ in forever. Oh, I was trying to level 3. Anyways. So, OD moves, for the most part, feel pretty good. I mean, every character has some that are losers, some that are winners, right? Like, you don't see a lot of this move from DJ, even though it's a pretty solid move, because he just has better ways to spin that drive gauge. Drive gauge is so important. The entirety of the gauge is very important. So, after talking about OD moves, I want to talk about the only drive move that can replenish drive gauge is a defensive tool and also can be used offensively, right? So what I want to talk about now is drive impact. I'm sorry, drive parry. Drive parry. I think drive parry, when it comes to the basic parry, like the enhanced guard, as it were. If you think about basic parry, it's just an enhanced guard. That's all it is, right? It's nothing super special. It doesn't really give you a whole lot of difference in frame advantage. Like the frame advantage is completely the same. There's no difference. The only thing that really changes is that you don't take drive gauge damage, and as a matter of fact, you replenish drive gauge, right? Which is really cool, right? So instead of taking drive here for blocking that, now instead, oops, I'm ass. Oops. I'll talk about that one next, but my brain just automatically tries to perfect parry things that are really slow. Parry, the basic parry, for the most part, I really like, right? The fact that you can hold it, the fact that you can drive rush out of it, which is really cool. The fact that you can also drive reversal out of it, I believe, as long as you get hit. Like, if you get hit while doing a drive parry, I wish I could set him to punch or something. I think I can. There we go. You can use a drive reversal, right? Like, parry is like the lifeblood of all of the other drive mechanics. They perfectly merge around it and make it feel like a full system that really works outside of just using that meter for OD moves, right? Which is cool. I think that's pretty sick. But there are pluses and minuses to this system. My favorite thing about parries is generally the regular parry, right? And purposely timed perfect parries. Perfectly timed perfect parries on like special moves that are generally unsafe that you can get some amount of damage out of. I think those are pretty cool, right? But what I don't like is tap parry on wake up, tap parry on cross up or same side jump ins, attempt tap parry on defense, right? You do like a move that's like -6 or whatever, and they're far enough away, and they have to like check with like a 7 frame, and you just go, okay, like, you know, I don't really like a lot of those guess situations, and they kind of make perfect parry feel too easy sometimes. Oops, I tried to do it. I was late. I was late again. Damn, I'm the worst perfect parry ever. That was late. That's toxic. Well, I'm bad, but there was supposed to be a combo there, right? Here to show some love, you the GOAT. Thanks. Appreciate that, Joseph. You ready for Tekken 8? Anyways, so if there was one thing I could change specifically about perfect parry, about the parry system, I would only change perfect parry. I don't think I would change anything at all about regular parry. I would only change perfect parry. And what I would change about perfect parry is I would make it so that you actually have to commit for tap parry, right? So the thing about parry is after you block, I mean, after you parry something, you can hold down, back, or back, and you will block, right? So the recovery of it cannot technically be punished unless you guess wrong. Because after that parry, you immediately have to guess again for overhead or low, right? I would like if you actually have to press forward plus parry or down forward plus parry, right? Either one or the other to either, you know, catch a low or catch any other button, whether it be an overhead, a jump in, a standing button, whatever. And when you do that, you're not allowed to, you're committed. You're stuck in that tap parry action. You can't hold for the other buttons, right? That's what I would really like, right? If you have to do that and you have to let go. So now you are committed to this action. You have to hold whatever offense your opponent does after. I think the countermeasure for that would to probably make it so that Parry's timing is a little easier, because Parry's got, oh, bro, my brain always wants to DI back, my bad. Oh, I tried to parry. I tried to DI. Holy shit, you guys see that? Like, my brain always wants to DI back, but I'm trying to parry here for, damn, I'm so late. And that's all perfect parry. The other suggestion is that some characters, even though they don't get a lot of damage off perfect parry, right? That combo did significantly less damage because of the scaling from perfect parry. The other suggestion, and that is one, is that I would like to see maybe parry be very similar to drive reversal, and it just being a can knockdown situation. So when you perfect parry something, you just get, I don't know, the same amount of damage you would get for like punish, counter, throw for beating a parry, or maybe even a little bit more, right? So if you would get, let's see, say you would get, what is this, 2K? Say you'd get, you know, 2K, maybe 2K 200, right? Or 2K 300 for a punish, counter, throw. I mean, for the perfect parry situation after, right? Just a knockdown that leads to, you know, 2.3k damage or whatever, and then it's a vantage state for the person who does the perfect parry, but isn't whatever they want, right? Because we have this one issue where sometimes there's the very riveting gameplay of I knock you down in the corner. Oops. I knock you down in the corner. I go for a meaty, you perfect parry it, you back throw me into the corner. You knock me down. I perfect parry your meaty. I back throw you into the corner. Very riveting and fun gameplay. Very interactive on both sides. And if I'm honest, jokingly, I don't think it should exist. It's pretty boring. It's kind of whack. And maybe if there was more risks to perfect parry, I wouldn't be so harsh about it, right? I think that generally perfect parry was meant to stop some of those really big lunging like normals like this, right? That you can see and react to and try to perfect parry. Or the special moves that are big lunging special moves like Honda Headbutt, Blanca Ball. Those are the two off the top of my head that like seem the most important to perfect parry generally. So I'm just gonna keep those two in mind. Special moves like that, right? Even something like Rashid's Eagle Spike. Those big lunging special moves, Dragon Lash from Kin. If you perfect parry those, you are rewarded handsomely. But the problem is some characters are rewarded so much better than others because, I mean, did we really know that Kin was just gonna go standing heavy on punish counter after a perfect parry into medium heavy target combo run Tatsu to like corner you from three quarters of the screen? No, we didn't know that, and now we know. And it seems like maybe the way to combat that is just to make perfect parry have a canned animation, just like something like drive reversal does. Do I think that that's like the best way to fix it? No, because I think it like creates more sterile gameplay. I like the other way better, but those are like two different ways that I would potentially solve it. We already talked about OD moves. I have no problem with OD moves. So the next thing on the docket also comes from parry, right? Generally, the easiest way to get a drive rush is to tap forward, parry, and tap forward again, right? And if you're fast enough, you don't even see the spark, the blue spark, right? Or maybe you see it, the little split second blue flash. And what this is just parry into forward, right? You can do it off normals that are cancelable, like that. You can do it in neutral. And generally, doing always, apologies. Every normal you do out of a drive rush will have more frames than normal. Will have more frame advantage, right? This is normally +5, add 4, right? So now that's +9. And that works for every single normal. And at least a lot of situations where people are just doing like drive rush jab. Because drive rush jab for a lot of characters leads to, if you didn't notice, pretty good stuff. All right, that's a drive rush jab. Yeah, I spent a lot of meter. Like I said, I didn't want to spend as much meter. Oh, I suck. If you don't want to spend as much, right? But these are really fast, like, burst options for some characters, because some characters' drive rushes are like really very fast, right? Kind of hard to deal with, right? Like, and it doesn't help that, like, look at DJ's jab range, bro. Like, that shit's not okay. And one of his sweeps is 8 frames, right? So you could even just take the knockdown, right? Now you're at frame advantage. You get the knockdown. You can start looping your pressure, like rinsing your pressure. Even like after this, just like drive rush up, boom, a meaty, plus 10 instead of plus 9 because it was a meaty button instead. And this situation works for a lot of characters. This is not a DJ specific thing that I'm referring to here. This works with like Jury, this works with Kin, this works with Luke, this works with any of the characters with like very speedy buttons or very speedy drive rushes, right? Cammy's drive rush, not too great, doesn't go super far, but she has really good long reaching buttons that you can use from drive rush to create offensive pressure. Without that, this game would probably suck. Okay? So I don't hate drive rush, but what I do wish is that there was a way to punish people for drive rushing more consistently, right? The screen freezes, it's supposed to make it so your input doesn't get eaten, and that doesn't work. So what ends up happening is sometimes moves just straight up get eaten during drive rush, and you lose out on trying to check the drive rush, right? If you're quick enough, if you're on the draw, I think you should be rewarded properly. Maybe mess with that screen freeze a little bit so that inputs aren't lost in the screen freeze, right? Kind of do it the way drive rush works, right? During a drive rush, you can just hold your button. It'll come out first immediate frame. So if you see someone drive rush, you should just be able to hold your button and it'll come out first immediate frame it's available. See, all I'm doing is holding that heavy punch after, and it just comes out immediately, first active frame. Same thing with perfect parry. So it'd be really nice if during that screen freeze, if someone's drive rushing from around this range, right? So they're trying to like drive rushing with this. You can just hold this during the freeze. You can hold your crouch and medium kick, or you can hold your sweep, right? Generally crouch and medium kick, because most characters can crouch and medium kick drive rush. But if you're not one of those characters, maybe you hold your sweep. Maybe you do like a crouching medium punch check or a stand medium punch check just to stave off that offense. If you're ready for it, you should get rewarded. And that's only one, right? I think if there's another angle they want to take it instead, because drive rush has no apologies. Drive rush actually doesn't have counter hit properties, right? If I set Guile to jab here, if I set him to OD flash kick and I do this and I don't press a button, I guess it does have counter hit. Wow. Oops. Oh my lord. Okay, yeah, so that's counter hit properties. I think if there was a change I would make is I would give it punish counter properties. I would make it so that if you're able to check your opponent's drive rush, you're actually allowed to get a bigger follow-up. You're allowed to get the maximum possible follow-up you can get. Same thing that you would get off perfect parry, but without the extra scaling, right? Like, it's not easy to check a lot of these characters' drive rushes, and I think just like toning down drive rush across the board would just make the game more sterile. Instead, make it a skill check. Make it just like perfect parry, the way that people need to react to the big buttons that are coming in and use the perfect parry to get rewarded. I think you should do the same thing, or could do the same thing with drive rush, and just make it so that drive rush gives you punish counter, so that anything that you do to stop someone from drive rushing enables your better combos, right? So like, say, I don't know, as DJ, they're drive rushing in and I call them out with this. Look at that. Boop. Anyways, hold all this damage for your drive rush. Like, you hold that. Oh, I was late. Ooh, and I still pressed it. I love me. Go me. Me when I drive rush. Drive rush is a fun button. It's a really fun button. Or a really fun set of buttons, right? Because it's technically 2. So I don't want to completely just remove it from the game. I don't want it gone. Like, I don't want drive rush to be completely unusable. I think the third angle, and this is the angle that most people want, is they want like drive rush to cost 2 bars. Like, instead of costing 1. See, because it costs 1 if you do it perfectly. They want it to cost 2. Then you're trading a drive rush 1-for-1 with a drive reversal, which also doesn't seem so bad, right? Because drive reversal costs 2 bars. So you'd be trading a drive reversal for a drive rush 1-for-1 if they go for too many buttons of like a kind of an auto, like an autopilot sequence after their drive rush, right? And I think that's not a bad idea either, but I think the 2 changes that I suggested are significantly better. I don't really want to tune drive system things like make them cost more or cost less. I just really want to see the other gameplay mechanics kind of work around drive rush, right? So make it punish counter instead of counter hit. and make it so that that screen freeze that's meant so that your button doesn't get eaten actually fucking works and gives you your button like first possible frame in some of these situations like around here where people would be drive rushing from. Because I mean, full screen drive rush is significantly more reactable, right? Like, yeah, that was like plus 12 if I hit them, but I shouldn't be hitting them with this standing heavy punch from that range. They can absolutely react to it. It's like in this mid range, right, where my longest buttons won't really hit, like we're like right outside of my longest button range. But then if I drive rush, like, haha, now my longest button like reaches, right? And not only does like my longest button reach, like it combos into things, right? Maybe not specifically that, but just things in general for a lot of characters. We've got one more main thing to talk about. I guess we'll talk about another thing that at the beginning of the game everyone thought was like super duper scrubby. Everyone hated this button. Everyone fucking hated this button. Everyone hated this button. And as I think as the game's developed, oh, I guess that isn't combo. I can't level 1 there. Nah, yeah, I can't level 1 there. Sorry, just trying stuff. My bad, brain. So, drive impact, generally a button that's used against people in burnout in the corner, used as like a linchpin like defensive option, generally not super good at like high level. A lot of times it's really good for like guessing like big windy buttons that people use in neutral to like call out whiffs. It's good randomly sometimes to like beat fireballs, especially from that range. It's good for like pressure strings that like generally people would have done in like Street Fighter V, where they're like taking their plus frames and they're just running it and hoping that you get hit or that you block it and I'm pushed far enough back that now I'm safe, hee. A lot of those situations, drive impact is very strong. There's also a lot of situations where drive impact is completely useless because guess what? I can just triple jab. Oh, I see you DI item and DI back. I could just like stand medium, crouch medium. Oh, I see you DI. I'll just DI back, right? And this works with like a lot of buttons. There's tons of buttons. There's even buttons that recover faster than DI if your opponent is already slightly minus. So I think that I don't really care to see a change to DI. I don't think there's anything wrong with DI. It's sometimes it like on wake up. I think my big issue is on wake up. Sometimes it feels like you don't get your DI back. Maybe they should like not tighten the window, lengthen the window, stretch out the window where you can hold DI on wake up, right? Like maybe you just hold it and then it happens first available frame on wake up or something, instead of you having to try to mash it on wake up and potentially missing it and getting something else. Like, I mean, yeah, you could just like use the macro, but some people don't have the macros set. Some people don't prefer to use the macros because they are a little far off. I don't use the macro. I just press those, right? And as you see, like I'm not perfect every time. Sometimes I let go of one button before the other. Generally, I let go of the punch button first. But so on wake up, what would happen there is that means if I let go of the punch button first and press the kick, sometimes on wake up, I'll just get the heavy kick instead of getting the DI. That's a little shitty. That's a little poopy pants. So that's the only thing I can really think of. Honestly, I would buff DI. Me personally, I would make it like 24 frames or 22 frames where it's still like reactable, but maybe more on the cusp of reactable where it's not super duper easy to react to unless you're already pressing buttons into it, right? You're not just gonna like you're not always gonna react to like a 22 frame button in neutral. You're not always gonna be ready for it. Like some people don't even like react to this and like perfect parry it or stand into it so that they're not taking the extra plus frames, right? Even a move like that, which is 19 frames, super slow in like a terms of a button, right? Oops. Same with this. People consider this button very slow, like 25 frames, and it's faster than DI. So if you can react to those overheads and those like big plus on block moves like this and this, then you can surely react to a DI, and I think that makes it a little bit worse knowing you can already chain buttons into it to beat it. So my vote is to buff DI, make it like 24 or 22 frames instead of 26. Leave the startup animation the same so that you see the big flash at the start, right? So if you're ready at the beginning, you're ready at the beginning, but maybe if you were missing and you weren't ready, you're a little more likely to get hit, right? I think being able to hide it in drive rush is a little fucked up, but you know, no big deal. There's only one other drive system left. I think I kind of went in an order where I was talking about something I liked and didn't really want to change too much to talking about something I did think needed to be changed, right? Because I think regular parry is fine, but perfect parry, not so much, right? So now we're on to the last thing, drive reversal. Drive reversal is awkward because you don't want to make it one bar because then if someone is doing pressure sequences like this, they're spending 1 bar here to beat this. They're spending 1 bar to beat you trying to use jab confirms, or even like crouching medium punch or crouching medium kick confirms. It's not a very good trade for the offensive player. I think having to spend for the defensive player, I'm sorry, making it 2 bars, yeah, making it 1 bar would make it like way too powerful, because then every time you touch one of the defensive characters in the game, like a Guile, a JP who doesn't want you close, a Sim, they would almost always have a drive reversal handy that you have to bait out and take your punish on, or you're basically resetting to neutral, right? If you don't take your punish on it, then I mean it's just a reset to neutral, your pressure's over, and they can just do it again because it only costs 1 bar, right? Making it faster would be cool, I guess. Maybe there would be a lot less situations where people can modern react to it with level 3. Because it is actually possible to react to drive reversal. Drive reversal startup is actually pretty horrendous. 20 frames. 20 frames, right? Once again, I was talking about this, right? This is like a plus on block button or whatever. That's supposed to be like, oh shit, I can't believe I got hit. That's supposed to be relatively reactable. Oops, I fucked up. I want him to wake up with it. There we go. Yeah, 20 frames. So that could probably be either faster, right? Maybe make it right along the lines of some of the heavies in the game, right? There's a lot of like 12 frame, 14 frame heavies. Ow. Maybe make it along the lines of that. Maybe that's too fast. But that's the only thing I can really think of for drive reversal, because you don't want drive reversal to continue to be, I won't say useless, but very hard to use versus modern players. And players with very good reactions once they have level 3, because they can just level 3 through it. I don't know if level 1s go through it. I'm not entirely sure. So I guess we could check that real quick. I guess we could check that, right? Block reversal. Drive reversal? Where's drive reversal? Oh, I just don't put anything on, right? So I go nothing, and then I just turn on drive reversal here. Drive reversal, block all, active. Well, let's see if level 1s blow through it. I don't know if they do. But who's got a good level 1? Oh, Luke. Lucas has a good level 1 for sure. Oh, what's his crouching medium punch? Is it auto? Do I have to press the auto button? Where's the fucking auto button? It is that. Yeah, I blocked that on reaction. So that means all I'd have to do is... Yeah, it absolutely blows through it. It absolutely has invulnerability, so... Yeah, like, you have to be ready, of course. You can use any super. And this is something that's not exclusive to Modern. It's just significantly easier, as you can tell, to do in Modern, right? So... It's probably not a good situation. Probably not a good situation, and it also means that what happens is you end up losing more drive gauge for even trying it. Oops. Because what happens is you spend 1 here. Oops. Oh, I'm bad. You spend 1, right? You blocked a hit, so you took some drive gauge damage. You're spending another bar, and then if you get level 1, level 2 to level 3, you're losing even more drive gauge to getting hit by your defensive option. Like, you're choosing to use a defensive option. And it's too slow, so you just get smoked. I don't think that that's a good idea. Maybe speed up drive reversal. You can leave it to 2 bars. You could maybe even make it 3 so that it's at parity with drive rush, right? Like, so if someone's doing, I don't know, this, then it would trade evenly with the 3 bars. I think it just ate it, by the way. Oh, this is parry, right? No, that's DI. So where's my parry button? Where the fuck is my parry button? Oh, it's that one. Oh, it's right above it. That's godlike. Yeah. I don't know if you could react and use level 3 there, but specifically, it's one of the situations where if you're fighting a player with good reactions, drive reversal feels pretty useless as a defensive mechanic. And there's a lot of good plus frame buttons in this game. even before Drive Rush, every character generally has at least 1 or 2 plus frame buttons, and with Drive Rush, they get even better. Even if you nerf Drive Rush and make it potentially weaker, make it so that it's punish counter recovery or whatever, if you can stuff them moving around, if they're doing it off something like this, then what do you do, right? I think I can actually legit level 3 there. Yeah. I'm on Classic now. I wasn't supposed to do this. I'm not on Modern anymore, and it still works, right? So I think that's a perfect. Those are the main things that I would do to the system mechanics, to the drive system mechanics specifically, right? I don't want to talk about like buffs and nerfs for characters and what like new tools they could give, how they could change certain move properties on characters and things like that, like who I would like to see shuffled around and who I want to see higher up in the tier list and get like nerfed into the ground. I don't want to talk about that. I'd rather talk about all the systems that culminate around the game itself, because I think that makes for a significantly more interesting discussion than nerf Ken, JP, and Luke, right? Because that's generally the discussion we've been hearing for the past, I don't know, 4 months already. And it's not a very fruitful discussion compared to changing maybe some of the game mechanic systems that makes those characters so powerful and keeps other characters down, right? And even potentially with some of these changes, those characters could get better. You know, you never know. Those are my thoughts on the drive system, right? On the changes I want to see for the drive system. Overall, I like the drive system. I think that it's a really cool way to balance and design a Street Fighter game that is more offensive heavy without having to make super overwhelming, ridiculous offense off of every button being plus, right? Or off of some sort of priority system. I think it's a pretty good system. It could use some tweaks. This is a really good first version of a Street Fighter game. Like, we can't deny that. But I think that it could obviously be better. And that's what I would do to potentially make it better. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. Discuss it in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell me what you would do about certain drive mechanics that you don't like or that you think need to be tuned, or if you completely agree with me, I don't know, tell your friends to like and subscribe to the channel too. Anyways, this has been Beanie Thuggish talking about the drive gauge system, the drive system for Street Fighter 6, and how I would change it. Coming Season 2, hopefully. Signing out and saying peace.